Hello everyone, welcome to today's horror cooking challenge. Let's see what tonight's special dish is, personally made by Chef Catherine. She detailed this ridiculous dish with leg cuts from top-notch lamb and the breast made from super tender veal, plus a surprise for vegetarians. This side dish features tofu and some odd ingredients, but this reborn woman isn't wearing a mask. Her name is Catherine. 30 years ago, this motel didn't host beautiful honeymoon memories, it turned into a tragic horror story. At that time, she and her newlywed husband Joe just exited the wedding hall. Little did they know this place would become their last stop. Even more shocking, Catherine and Joe weren't the only victims. This bloody motel claimed 8 unsuspecting guests who checked out. 30 years later, the real killer remains a mystery. Everyone just knows his codename, The Boss. And now, this place called Cold River Motel has reopened, transformed into a crime-themed amusement park. Ruby and Portia invited various true crime enthusiasts to the grand opening. Doesn't it sound thrilling? This group includes podcast hosts, actors, scholars, and artists. They are experts in their fields, but today they are all die-hard fans of Cold River. During the event, Ruby introduced everyone to this death museum, where each room has its own chilling story. Red doors mark the real friction scenes, with footprints on the ground and scars on the floor. Everything is authentically gruesome. As night falls, Ruby and Portia prepared a special welcome dinner for the guests. I bet everyone is excited. Hemingway served several glasses of deep red drinks, so thick it raised suspicions. Many guests nearly fainted. There's a bit of vodka in this drink, but most of it is my own blood. A silence filled the room, followed by an awkward clap. Guests' reactions went from shock to anger and disgust, and they started questioning the hygiene. Things got wild. Do you even know what you're eating? Hemingway shot back. When it comes to raw sushi, someone said, this is a whole different story. But Hemingway replied, I just gave you a piece of me. Unexpectedly, the spiritual guide thanked Hemingway. This drink revealed everyone's true colors. Their obsession with death and extreme experiences exceeded all reason. Suddenly, a couple walked in. Their faces looked like they'd just attended a horror play. They begged for shelter. Ruby's face went cold. Her weekend private plans were ruined. They persisted, pleading to stay overnight in the parking lot. As other guests returned to their rooms, the actor was deep in confusion. At 30 years old, he was still trapped in a teenage role. For years, he tried to break free from this label, but he realized he can't escape no matter what. Cautiously, he approached the couple's RV, and they instantly recognized him. You're the one who once played Catherine. The actor had to admit his past. He realized Ruby and Portia's reopening was a gimmick, yet he was filled with resistance and unease. He requested a rideshare to leave, even if it was just to the next town. He really didn't want to stay here any longer. One of the guests cheerfully agreed, but just as he turned to leave, he bumped into the legendary demon killer. The actor turned and bolted into the woods, while the killer pursued him step by step, sending shivers down his spine. At the moment he fell, a heart-wrenching scream escaped until a distant crack echoed. He realized it was a setup by Ruby and Portia for publicity, and anger boiled within him. Everything happening this weekend will be used for promotion. Enjoy your free horror weekend. Of course, in return, they are entitled to use any content for promotional purposes. That's essentially like getting a free true crime experience. As this truth dawned on them, guests began to introspect their real motives for coming here. More importantly, they realized that the actor was the only paid guest, leading to a minor uproar. Other guests began questioning, why are meals free here but the actor has to pay? That's when Hemingway dropped a sharp comment, mocking the actor's career and image. You were the one covered in blood and naked during your glory days. What a legend. Other guests condemned Hemingway's behavior, making the atmosphere increasingly tense. After the argument, an enraged Hemingway headed to the motel, seemingly to isolate himself. He sat on the bench, trying to stay calm, but then he saw the demon mask killer at the door. He mistakenly thought it was Ruby and Portia's publicity stunt, shouting for them to keep their distance. Little did he know, the demon mask killer had blocked the sauna. What a helpless situation. As the heat intensified, Hemingway found the door wouldn't budge. Panic began to creep in. He tried calling Ruby to open the door, promising to behave better, but there was no response. With each passing second, the sauna's heat made him more desperate. His shouts began to fade. As planned, the spiritual guide organized a seance in the basement, but realized Hemingway was missing. The basement was the place where it all ended 30 years ago, yet now it was set up with mysterious eeriness. However, during the meeting, the spiritual guide and everyone seemed to await someone. Obviously, nobody wanted to miss this cool gathering.